we talked. It was just the launch of One Good Reason. Pandemic was just kind of starting, and those moments of isolation would not be uncommon from your experience in the past, right?
Um, no, I mean I know what it is to feel isolated. I've been addiction is a very isolating thing, and I survived that, and I'll survive COVID too. I'm convinced, and I think as a nation we will, and as a planet we will, because we have no other choice. But I feel like this particular time has been so long for so many people in terms of isolation. And I'm from an island, as are you all. And there's a certain amount of isolation that we kind of, I guess, we're better prepared than most, in some ways. But no one could prepare us for this. And I'm really grateful that I had these sea shanties kind of saved up in my shantyman file, because being locked in this winter after so long with having so little interaction socially and no shows. The absence of singing for me was really wearing down. And just to be able to be up here in my little man cave, belting out the songs and having that physical release really helped me deal with that isolation.
You guys did an amazing launch of One Good Reason, despite the pandemic, and doing shows online and just adapting with every moment that changed. And as an artist that would be used to being on stage in front of crowds, was it unusual to just be in your man cave and try to create that?
Well, I was lucky to have Andrea with me, and she's coming on this tour. She's going to come and join the band. Um, I think if I was just doing it for the screen, I wouldn't have been able to, but she was right there by my side. She's always been my best cheerleader and my loyalist and most loving person in my life. But it did make a difference to have human heat, and I think that's what translated across the screens and affected people who were on the other side. Um, but it was just that was the technology we had available to us. And when we released One Good Reason, we honestly thought the pandemic might last a month or two. we were, I guess we were all surprised at how long it actually took to unfold and continues to unfold. But I'm really grateful for those opportunities we had together alone in this room, away from our kids and our two dogs and our two cats, to be together with people out there.
When you launched the book, and it goes into great detail of the struggle of addiction, overcoming it, and how music is medicine. I know that was a line it said a lot when we chatted when the book first came out. And through the pandemic, music definitely has been medicine and kind of that soundtrack to people.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Eric Alper, just put out he always puts out cool little tweets and stuff, and he's like, you can't overdose on music. Bob Marley, when music hit me with music and I feel no pain. It's one of the few things that actually helps, really helps, and never harms. So it's a great weapon, a great tool in our toolkit, as they say, to have. And without it, I'd have been lost long ago. And it really sustained me through my recovery. The first sober record I made was Help Yourself with Joel Plaskett, followed up by I Love You with Joel Plaskett. And then There's a Place with my friend Jeremy Fisher here. And now Shantyman. But, they're all very different records, but they all kind of, tell a story in and of themselves. And I think Shantyman is the best version of me I could put out under difficult conditions. And of course, that's what sea shanties were for. They were designed specifically to help people overcome difficult situations and get the really hard jobs done, which is what we all face now. And like the sea shanty, which was meant to be sung together with other people to maximize the efficiency of labor, COVID is something we won't conquer until every single one of us work together. And I don't think there's a better soundtrack for overcoming a pandemic than a sea shanty.
It's funny, and it'll show my age a little bit, but when TikTok went crazy with the sea shanty, and I was like, it's not really new news to anybody that grew up around any kind of music, right? Like,
No, not for us Islanders, it isn't, is it? when I grew up in St. John's, and even now to this day, it seemed a little exotic. I know when Great Big Sea came out and around, people didn't even know where Newfoundland was. and the music was very intoxicating and new and different for them. They didn't know that we were basically stealing songs that were 400 years old. But those songs, in fairness to us, were literally and still are every day on the radio where I come from in St. John's. I don't know if it's exactly the same in Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island, but these are front and center on the radio. In every club you walked in, there was always traditional music, and sea shanties were always the best of that. So they've been around. These songs have been around a long time, and this it's because they're good, because they're great songs. They get in your ears, and they're what you call earworms. They don't let go. They have great melodies, and they have great choruses, and they're meant to be sung.
Now, as you put together the latest project, was it hard to narrow down what would make it as the kind of the final cut?
Yeah, I have my active file, my Shantyman file, which I've kept going. People don't know this, I don't think, but I'm an honest to goodness folk nerd. I was doing my master's in folklore in St. John's, Newfoundland, at the Memorial University when the band blew up. That's what I was doing. That was going to be my career, and I still owe them my thesis, but I think I'm still enrolled in some capacity. But in my first, completed a year in that program. And my goal was to learn how to find these songs and to find more of them. I love them so much. So I've had this active file. It's never left me, and it just felt like the right time to get back to them. But I've got 82 left in my bucket list.
Yeah, it's
The next 8 records will be Shantyman 1 through Shantyman 2 through 7.
go. See, future planning right there.
I got it all figured out. It's all in my Shantyman file. The challenge with these songs is bringing them into the modern age. A lot of them don't have choruses. A lot of them, sing about drinking, which eliminates a large part of the catalog for me. A lot of them, there's too many verses, so I had to I did a lot of editing and took great liberties with the lyrics and melodies to try and make them into what we understand as modern music, like a 3-minute version of an ancient song. But that was fun work to do.
We're excited for the tour, and I want to quickly touch on the book once again, just because it's an amazing read. And the thing about our lives is, if you don't share the stories or the experiences with those around you, you can't help like the next generation. And I had a bunch of people that reached out after we talked about One Good Reason, and just at the back of the book where you can write in a secret they may have never told anyone, and it's all part of the healing process and just being human.
Yeah, I think if the book can spark conversations and trigger people to face their truths, and that was something. I mean, at the core of my own recovery, if I hadn't gotten down, people drink and use drugs for reasons, and if I hadn't gotten to the reason, then I wouldn't be successful. I'll be 10 years sober November 9th. But and it's not an easy thing to do ever. But if you don't get at the reason why, where it's coming from, why you're driven to this behavior, why you are compelled to self-destruct in that fashion, and there's always a why. And we've had thousands of messages saying similar things. People were encouraged to share their secrets for the first time, or even just face their truth. And I'm really proud of that. I think if we can if anything good came out of this pandemic, and the book was a labor of love. We will never get to do our national tour, but at least we got to reach into some hearts and open them up just a little bit. And Andrea is coming with me to Prince Edward Island for the first time. So that'll be our tour. That'll be our. We'll do it. We'll get to go on the road. Chandrea on the road.
And we will celebrate with the music and fill the hall and just have a good old sea shanty time.
We're going to sing songs from One Good Reason and from Shantyman, and some great big hits are going to come out. I'm just so happy and thrilled to be coming and to go. And especially Prince Edward Island, it's beautiful there. It's always been kind to me. I'm not trying to be pandering here. I legitimately love your province. It's one of the most prettiest places on the planet. So I feel very much at home there and very comfortable there. So it's just an honor to be able to get to do this again, especially with you.